Live.
Yay,
Hello,
we're
everybody.
live. Oh, it's so good to be live.
Welcome to Ian and Kyle Manually English Language.
Yes.
For the first time in 3 weeks, I think? Something like that.
Also, this will be our last stream for 3 weeks.
Is it going to be 3 weeks? It might be. Yeah, it might be.
It might be 3 weeks.
I'm going to be off next week because I'll be in Pennsylvania.
I will be out the following week.
Because you'll be in...
Upstate New York / Philadelphia, actually. We'll be
Philadelphia?
Yeah, got some family on my mom's side there. Hey, yeah. Yeah, I found a dead silverfish in my deck of cards.
Cool. Is he good at Versus System? That's gross, Kyle.
I agree.
So I was sick 2 weeks ago. That's why we didn't stream. And then last week was Kyle's company's holiday party.
That's right.
And we might be joined by Chris late tonight because it is his company's holiday Christmas party.
'Tis the season to not be available. That's sort of how it goes.
So what else can we talk about? I'm still behind on uploading stuff as usual. Oh, I forgot to... I did try to stream last week without Kyle. I tried to stream La Mulana. And interestingly discovered that my PC, when running OBS, which is the software I use to stream, either version, OBS or OBS Studio, makes La Mulana run really slow, which is dumb and awful. So it's not a game I could stream, and it was not a problem I could solve last week.
Right on.
So
Good try, though.
I'd really like to get through that game. I think the sequel is coming out soon, so I'm hoping to get to be able to stream it or something. But we'll see. I might have to wait till I get a Elgato or other video capture device, which is something I want to do because I want to actually stream classic video games too.
Right.
Like Chris does, only with real hardware.
Real hardware.
But I set the copy for the stream to all La Mulana related stuff, and I forgot to set it back. So I fixed it up as much as I could. It's got the right title and the right game we're playing, but I had to remove a lot of like the frequently asked questions and stuff.
Right, La Mulana oriented content.
And information about Kyle. Unfortunately,
right,
so it just says I'm here, but Kyle's here too.
Yeah.
The information I have about Kyle is still made up from when we started streaming. He said he would get me some information to put up here.
Oh, I should do that one
a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I should do that. I'll do that one of these.
So I have that half fixed, and I'll try to remember to fix the rest of it before our next stream, which I'll have 3 weeks to do.
You know, it's funny. I think in all the time we've had this up, I only read the sort of body description stuff way early on in the process. So I'm due to reread it and figure out what I need to provide you, and maybe that's a thing that can be done one of these here days.
Cool.
Also,
I mean, it hasn't changed much, really. I added 1 or 2 more frequently asked questions, and it was mostly about Chris and Casey.
Right. Chris and Casey. I just wanted to point out to our... you can't actually see
What
that.
is that?
So
What is
this object, which is a mystery object, is actually the middle third of a harmonica.
What happened to your harmonica, Kyle?
Nobody knows.
It was really bad, whatever it was.
I don't remember my
Is that the one your dad got you?
No, I actually still have the one my dad got me. It's fun fact, my dad is a harmonica playing maniac now, apparently. This is the middle third of a harmonica.
He's a harmaniac.
He's a harmaniac. That's fantastic. I would pass it along. But yeah, I just thought that the audience would like to see what the middle third of a harmonica looks like.
Kind of what I expected.
Yeah. It's
although it's plastic, isn't it?
Well, it's interesting that you should mention that. So most harmonicas have a wood or softwood center, but there's a small number of brands that do plastic. And wood is very strange. Of course, wood expands when it gets wet, which, when you're playing a harmonica, can get wet. So what happens is you play it, the wood comes out of the harmonica and then starts to stab you, so you have to, like, shave it off when you use the wood harmonica. But then when they would dry out, the wood would recede so far back in that you wouldn't be able to form a seal over the harmonica with your mouth. So what the famous blues harmonica players would do is they would take their wood harmonica after shaving it off, and then before their performance, they would let it soak in beer. So it would soak in all that beery goodness and swell back up so they could play it again. And it's all really strange and silly and ritualistic. It makes no sense to me. And that is all we need to know.
It's a very strange topic for our stream. That's quite a diversion we've gone.
Well, you know, next time on the stream, I'll talk about what this is.
Okay. So what can we talk about? Games. Kyle's playing an MMO.
I am, which actually I think it is worth pointing out is in and of itself a bit strange. There's a part of me that has had some interest in playing an MMO historically.
I'm struggling to connect to the chat here. I hope that it's working.
Me too. Me too.
I just got to refresh the page and see if
that
that doesn't destroy everything. Go ahead, keep telling your story, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm sure that everything is fine. Well, there we are again. Maybe we're connecting the chat.
Tell your story.
But you're connecting the chat. This is exciting.
It's not that exciting.
So yeah, I always liked the idea of playing an MMO or sinking my teeth into a really epic JRPG, for example.
Wow, that is a departure for you.
Well, it's funny. Like, I always want to do it, but I'm not willing to commit. The problem is, as adults, the time is not the same as it was back when I was not an adult, and I'm always a little bit afraid to play something super committal, but despite the interest. So it's one of those things like, it's like on the bucket list.
MMO is the worst possible choice.
Oh, yeah. So I basically jumped whole hog in, and the whole concept of being adult and not having time for this sort of thing was exemplified by the fact I saw in chat in Black Desert Online, which is the MMO I'm playing, just a chat, the sector chat or what have you, server chat rather, and one person, all they said in the chat, it was sort of an isolated thing, there's the constant stream of people saying things. One person said, "I'm 47 and waiting for a Yeti to spawn. What does that say about me?" I thought that was entertaining.
Well, how old was he when he started?
That's the real question. That would have been the question.
So, I'm playing Titan Quest.
Yeah.
Which is a 15-year-old?
I think 10.
10-year-old?
Which is still impressive.
Sort of
10-year-old game.
Loot grindy Diablo clone.
Yeah.
That just had a new expansion released for it randomly.
Yeah, which is super strange. In the PC world, well, really in video games, period, to have an official expansion pack. And it's not the original team that worked on the game, but it is the original publisher, so it's legitimate. It's not like a community mod. It's a real expansion. A decade after a game's released, and probably 8 years since the last actual expansion, is just absurd. Like, that's, I think, legitimately unprecedented in the games industry. I can't think of anything else even close to that. So that is fairly novel. And I will say this, I think the game it's definitely an action RPG. I've played through the main campaign of Titan Quest, those we discussed prior to the stream. It was many years ago. But one of the things that compelled me about Titan Quest originally was I felt that they actually dodged the bullet of being a true Diablo clone. I mean, certainly they're still in the same genre. They are absolutely that action RPG, that PC action RPG genre, because I think the console ARPGs play a little bit differently, but they overhauled the systems that you can overhaul and still have it be in that genre. I thought the skill system was immensely novel. We saw their spiritual successor, Grim Dawn, use a similar or if not identical system, at least for part
skills,
of it, for the skills, which I thought was very creative, and I really enjoyed that when I originally experienced it. I really enjoyed that sense of customization, and it has pros and cons, but it's certainly distinct. Where you basically, instead of picking a class, I'll just 2 cent tour for our audience at home. But instead of picking a traditional, like, I'm a necromancer, or I'm a spellcaster, wizard, or what have you, they have you pick one of a number of masteries, and I think there were 8 in the original game, and now maybe they're up to 10. But it'd be like
that's right.
Something, indeed. But you would pick, like, warfare. You would pick one of these masteries, but what would happen is you get far enough in at level 8 or 9, and you pick a second mastery, and that was what your class was 2 of 8 masteries. So it's a permutation thing, which I thought was very interesting. So you didn't pick a class at the outset; you picked one mastery, and then 8 levels in, you picked your second mastery. And so a lot of the game and a lot of planning, and I do enjoy the planning part and, like, the possibilities. It's a fun part of the game.
It is good theory crafting, as does its successor, way, way more so. Grim Dawn has a lot of crazy theory crafting in it. Which appeals to me. That's one of the things I like about those style of games.
Well, it's fun. It's funny because in a sense, so much of playing games is problem solving. And there's certainly, variable ways in which you solve these problems. But when you play the ARPG genre, one of the big things that I think is compelling, maybe more so even than in other genres, is the way in which you solve the problem of the game. Because the problem of the game isn't really the enemies per se, it's your character. The puzzle of the game is the character you're playing. And so you're looking at it, and all the pieces of the puzzle are intrinsic to the character itself. Skills, skill points, attribute points, potentially. The gear that you equip, even, to a degree. Some of it's just progression baked, right? Later in the game, I just get better gear. Or, my 20th skill point gets a more powerful skill. But when they do it properly, I actually, there's a lot of permutations along the way. And so much of the game is executing on what you believe, or what you believed back when you started the game, was the solution to the problem. And if you get far enough into the game and realize that wasn't the solution or didn't play the way you wanted, and certainly you epitomize this as a gamer, is you will then restart and try to solve the problem better. You'll try to re-optimize.
Yeah, so that's something I definitely suffer from, or enjoy.
Benefit from.
Yeah, is when I approach this style of game, I will generally play some amount until I feel like I understand the systems enough to make those initial decisions more correctly. Right. And sometimes I don't need to, but often I do, and I will restart. And I have done that already once with Titan Quest.
Yeah,
I played about 10 hours, and then I was like, all right, I get it. This is what I need to do to make the build I want to make and enjoy this experience better, and restarted.
Right.
And I've nearly caught up to where I was before.
And I think there's two parts to it. Also, what you sort of hit on is part of it is you're optimizing against the game itself. So you're trying to create an effective build, something that is, capable of progressing in the game. And some ARPGs are more forgiving on what is a passable build versus not. Like some games have improper.
So then you did a nice setup there. So I'm going to interject for a second, but I'll let you get back to that thought. One of the things I really appreciate about a Titan Quest that is not true of Grim Dawn is Titan Quest does not have enemy scaling. And Diablo 3 and Grim Dawn have enemy scaling. And in Grim Dawn, the enemy scaling is really, really aggressive. So in Titan Quest, part of the problem you're solving, as you say, is you're trying to make an efficient build, or an effective build. Mm-hmm. But in Grim Dawn, that becomes, because of the aggressive enemy scaling, you have to make a build that's efficient every level. Like your damage output improves every level because the enemies scale every level, and you won't be making... If you fall behind a certain curve, it will be a very frustrating experience for you. It's something I actually don't like a lot about Grim Dawn.
It's probably one of the weakest points. You've talked about it in the past off stream. But I think the other thing that you're solving for, as opposed to effectiveness, though effectiveness is, of course, consequential, but the other part of it is, of course, play style. You're solving to find a build. You start by saying, conceptually, what would I enjoy doing? What behavior would I enjoy doing? Do I want to run up and punch something? Do I want to summon wolves to attack something? Or the undead cast spells at a distance? And so, and even there, of course, subdivisions, you want to throw fireballs or lightning bolts. And in our heads, we play out a fantasy about what that experience might be like. And sometimes, I think in a game like this, you restart for, column A, which is the efficiency column. I'm just not effective enough. But sometimes you restart because throwing lightning wasn't as fun as you dreamt it would be.
Sure.
But then you're like, well, maybe fireballs. Throwing fireballs would be satisfying. And so it's satisfying on two layers. And when you find that build that is all of the above, I mean, it's just such an immensely gratifying experience where you feel both powerful, but also the moment-to-moment experience is more than just being powerful. It's being powerful in an engaging way that satisfies you as a player. And I think that's one area where I feel like ARPGs really do better than almost any other genre, in a sense. Part of that is, I think, because the execution, the actual moment-to-moment control input of the game is relatively simple. Point, click, some amount of micro on your spell rotation or your skill rotation, but it's really usually not super intricate, generally speaking, as opposed to, if you look at a brawler game that has advancement, I mean, I know you're not a huge fan of the God of War series, but there's certainly some character progression there, and like you get skills and spells and you upgrade them. But really, that is a game that the focus is more about the execution, which is either more or less satisfying depending maybe on your player nature, but nonetheless the focus is somewhere else. But here, execution is almost not a barrier, right? You push one and you throw that lightning bolt.
Well, I mean, it's almost like I would argue. I mean, yes, your point is sound. I would argue there's a degree of execution, and you can sort of season to taste based on your build.
I think
like there are builds that are
a little more technical.
I take a lot of damage and I deal a lot of damage and I do it at close up.
Sure.
And you can fill out your skill points and your progression with that and never do anything interesting other than click on the enemies. And there are builds where you have to dance around carefully and throw a bunch of different skills out there to keep going, and that could be more interesting, but it's sort of to your choice.
Right.
I historically, as a kid, I tended to do the former a lot, and now as an adult, I much enjoy the latter.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Although I'm playing kind of a simple build again this time in Titan Quest.
Well, that's not. Again,
it's a ranged build, and I'm doing a lot of movement, but my skills are fairly straightforward.
Yeah. Well, and there's it's interesting. I think one of the great battles, this came up at least once on the stream previously when I think we were talking MOBAs. But I think one of the greatest confounds in game design, one of the hardest things to comprehend as someone who is designing games, is that complexity doesn't always equal depth. So
yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, I think that's very important, and it's actually a common mistake I think a lot of people make, and that doesn't necessarily say that complexity can't be satisfying for some players. When you look at a game that is highly complex and people are engaging in a highly complex experience, for some people, the satisfaction comes from overcoming the knowledge gap, and it's less about moment-to-moment execution, and there's so much gratification that comes from just understanding what to do with 200 items in Dota, and how to effectively use each individual one. And for some people, that is a gratifying experience. And I actually, I often say complexity doesn't equal depth, but that's not to say that complexity doesn't equal fun to some people. Some people enjoy just that continual process of learning and iterating. And personally, as a player, I'm actually more the opposite. I like games that provide really, really clear, meaningful decisions that then you have to do sort of reactionary stuff after the fact. So that's why sometimes brawler games do resonate for me, or even something like Dark Souls in a sense, where the core mechanics are actually immensely simple in Dark Souls.
Well, yeah, Dark Souls is the best modern example of a game that has depth without complexity.
Yeah,
the actual character inputs and actions are very simple
in that moment to moment. And I think in some ways, there's a case to be made that there's some complexity in sort of where you put your skill points, but ultimately, so much of what you do with skill points in the Dark Souls series is.
Well, I'm not saying it has no depth. I'm saying it has a good level of depth, which is errors on the side of simpler, like you said.
Well, and I think actually a lot of the depth is frankly a little superficial. That is to say, they tend to be straightforward decisions for the most part, and the decisions that matter more, it's less about do I put a skill point in A or B, or a stat point rather, and more, am I successfully able to dodge this gigantic club that is being swung at me, and then hit someone after they swung the giant club. And so there's much more of that layer and that moment-to-moment execution. But nonetheless, as I mentioned to Ian prior to the stream, I would probably actually have turned to Titan Quest again, because I was a huge fan of the original one, or Grim Dawn, but I distracted myself with an MMO, which is partly because I wanted to justify spending a bunch of money on a computer, so all the games I were playing were like relatively modern or fancy games, because I wanted to be like, oh, that's pretty, and also fun. I'm not picking boring games, but I wanted to have it all, the complete package, and so I started playing BDO, which is considered one of the best-looking MMOs, and is actually a beautiful game. The art is beautiful. It's very vibrant and lush, while also being, more realistic. I also played Doom, which is ugly, but like deliberately ugly.
Doom is ugly?
Yeah, it's like, ugly in the sense of...
I thought the modern Doom was pretty good looking.
Well...
That's the one you're talking about?
Yeah, I when I say ugly, it is technically beautiful. But the art is like the red of Mars and the red of the blood of the thing you just cut in half. So it's like ugly in that sense. Like it's bleak and violent. Admittedly with a bit of camp. Like the violence is kind of over the top deliberately. The new one especially, the recent Doom is, which admittedly came out last year, so it's not super recent, but it's like they went all out with those chainsaw effects. It's some of the best chainsawing I've seen in a game in terms of like, well, it really looks like I just chainsawed that demon. So it's super, super gratifying and visceral. But in any case, those are the ones I predominantly, was playing around with. But Doom, it's funny. Doom is really fun, but I'm not playing it very much. The other one I was playing, Battle Right, is really good for short sessions, but it's terrible for long sessions. It's just a super high energy game, so it's super quick burnout. So as a byproduct of that, BDO is the one that's actually really stuck out of those three that I started playing, and I put like 40 hours into the thing, and it's stupid addicting, and you go in and even got a quest that was like, well, somebody stole my gold. I'm like, who stole your gold? And like, there's some thief that comes by here at night. Can you stop him for me? And I'm like, okay. And then I realized it was like the middle of the afternoon in the game, so I kind of had to like dick around with some side quests until it was nighttime, so I could complete the quest. And most of their quests aren't day-night centric, but they have imaginative little things in there. But I was never bored. Like, I had to wait in this zone, and I was telling you earlier, but I did all these things that shouldn't be gratifying at all, and I should be really bored and annoyed to do them, but nope. I just chopped some timber, harvested some potatoes, made some soup, which I then used to harvest copper. And it's just like these relatively banal tasks that I did, and then I was able to stop a thief. It was worth. And so it's fascinating also because I'm enjoying doing non-combat-y things. In fact, one of the biggest weaknesses of the game, and there's some late game stuff, but the only two early game problems I've encountered were it is a little overwhelming. It is super, super intricate. They have civilization-esque elements and territory control that you get. It's just crazy, crazy stuff. Hiring workers to do, it's crazy. And it's a lot. And the other weakness is, it's actually kind of easy. The combat is surprisingly not hard yet. To the point where I don't think I've used a health potion and I'm like level 30, and I don't know if it's because I'm sticking around and doing side quests for forever, and I'm like significantly ahead of the level curve. That's actually a possibility. I definitely am in some areas, but I am surprised that I have not hit friction in the game from a difficulty perspective. But it hasn't diminished my enjoyment because I feel like I'm doing stuff, and that's been rewarding. So anyway, that's been my gaming lately. It's been predominantly BDO.
Let's see, we can talk about movies briefly. Kyle and I both saw Star Wars today.
I think we both recommend it.
We won't spoil anything about it, but it's good.
Yeah.
We both enjoyed it. It has some flaws, but it's good overall.
Yeah. I agree. I agree on that point. Definitely worth seeing if you're a fan of movies in the theater. It is actually arguably as good as a theater viewing experience can get. It. There's some really. I'll actually bust out my cinema nerd card a little bit and just say they had some really beautiful cinematography, and did a really good job at filming space and a lot of these foreign landscapes very artistically. Which was something I thought Rogue One also did, but I thought Force Awakens didn't do at all. And so there's some really, really striking imagery. I won't say the scene again, but like the scene that I called out to you earlier, where I'm like, they made this particular choice, and it was just made the scene really effective and really powerful. And
I don't remember the scene. You'll have to remind me after.
Yeah, I'll tell you
called
later.
out a lot of scenes to me earlier.
I suppose that's true. It involves, all right, yep. I won't say anything. Won't say anything at all.
All right.
But it was great, and we agreed it was a good scene. But nonetheless, so they made some interesting choices and did some things that I thought were very artistic, and I love that kind of stuff. I love when people go the extra mile to take something that at the end of the day is a popcorn film and be like, you know what, this is a popcorn film, but we're going to make it genuinely artistically beautiful anyway. We care about shot composition. We care about color palette.
By the way, I just want to point out, you're probably making a lot of noise when you're banging your hands
Oh,
on
yeah,
the table.
that's probably true.
Because our microphone is sitting on the table.
That's fair. I will attempt to.
I am noticing you're suddenly and randomly doing that a lot more than you usually do.
Could be true. Lots of gesturing. I will endeavor to do that a little bit.
We can talk about board games briefly too, and then we'll get into our versus system. I'm still playing. I almost said Grim Dawn. That's wrong. I'm still playing Gloomhaven and enjoying that quite a bit.
Yeah. Grim, it's similar.
Last week, Kyle and I played Ashes again for the first time in like 3 months, and it wasn't awful. So
yeah, it was not awful.
We might be getting back into that a little bit again.
Yeah, I'm definitely game. Yeah, that was novel, and it was.
Oops, I can't see.
Your monitor seems a little.
There we go.
Oh, we got people. Hey, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I don't know how long you were here. I had the chat highlighted, and it was unreadable.
Yeah, it is a little dim. Do you have You might have turned down the brightness because the battery was low. Can we?
No, that's fine. That's how it usually
weird.
is.
From my angle, it seems
Should I
dimmer.
move it a little bit?
No, that's all right. Don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat.
We've only been on the air for about 30 minutes, Chris, and we've been chatting about stupid stuff. That's why we haven't started yet.
I think it was a pretty good chat. It's pretty solid.
Hey, Insanity, you'll have to tell us about it at some point. I think we were done. I think we would probably start playing.
Pretty good conclusion point. Yeah. Star Wars was pretty.
So let's do it.
All right, so we've got 3 decks. One of them, if you select it, I don't actually remember with 100% certainty what tier it is. So if you pick the one that I'm not sure of, I'll tell you the deck, and then you can kind of make a call about if it's AA or not.
Yeah. My bag starts really beat up.
Beat up bag sort.
From living in my box, so we'll do this one.
We'll do this one here. Let's see if this is the one I'm unsure of or not. I am sure that this one is A.
A. Okay. A-okay.
A-okay. Do some card shuffling. Get out some of these here life dice. Hope I remember how to play Versus. It's been a little while.
It has been a while. And my deck. Where's my deck, Kyle?
Probably in the box. It's in that box somewhere. How about, I'm going somewhere with this. I don't know where I'm going.
You want to make a sentence there, bro?
I was going to say, how was the holiday party? But maybe it's something to be described at a later juncture. Do you guys have any good holiday plans coming up? Any of you guys doing any traveling? I know I will be out of state for a bit. As Ian and I were discussing earlier, we'll be off for a bit after this. Oh, interesting. A circus sideshow.
I found it.
That's unusual. I was it after yeah. Holidays are a weekend for me. I like that. Clowns? Clowns were at your holiday party? Were the guests were you encouraged to dress up as a clown? Because Chris the Clown sounds amazing. Or were they paid professional clowns that came there for clowning?
You wouldn't want a bunch of amateur clowns at your party.
You might.
That's terrifying.
I was going to say, it would be terrifying.
Join us for a night of amateur clowning.
Oh, my God, yeah, that would be a horror movie. Oh, a wasteland. I misread that. Apologies, I'm very sleepy. Very, very sleepy. I've been very sleepy for the past 2 or 3 days.
What does it mean the holidays are a wasteland?
Well, you go there and there's giant scorpions for Christmas.
You're going to have giant scorpions for your holidays?
I can't imagine another interpretation of the word wasteland. Weekends are working days. Oh, I see. me see.
I was annoyed. I cut it at a sticky point in the cards, and usually when that happens, I try to cut elsewhere.
But no.
But I didn't bother.
I actually need to put some new sleeves on a couple of these cards.
Outer.
Outer is...
I have lost.
You've lost. I'm going to go... I'm going to go evens, I think.
Mulligan.
4 foot tall stilts and as a Christmas tree. That's pretty incredible, I must concede. Yeah, our I think you've topped our holiday party, which was themed around yachts and bad Christmas attire and cocktail attire. We had a choice of 3 approaches. Unbeknownst to me, everybody did get a captain's hat on arrival, which I did enjoy, getting a free captain hat. So thank you.
Where did you go?
I went evens, and I am not going to mulligan, which is very, very rare for me. And
is rare.
Probably stupid, but, you know.
Well, this week is the holiday of my people. I'm a little bit Jewish, and it is Hanukkah this week.
Oh, happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm going to recruit Kid Devil. Kid Devil's power is Cosmic Defenders I control with Cosmic Counters. Get +2 attack.
That would include him.
It would include him.
I'm going to put down this resource face down, as one does with the resource. I am then going to recruit Bolivar Trask. When he comes into play, search your deck for an Army Sentinel character card. Reveal that card, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. I am going to search for an Army Sentinel card that is in my deck. We're going to search for an Army Sentinel card. We'll search for that one. It's a 3-drop Army Sentinel card that doesn't do anything particularly special.
All right. I'm going to hit old Bolivar. Olivar Queen. Wait.
Nope. Definitely. Yeah, I see what you did there. Very, very clever. You're clearly confusing the arrow with Peter Dinklage.
They do look alike.
Oh my word. Oh my word. I want you to know, Casey, I can respect a good humbug. I enjoy holiday spirit in the sense that people are happier when they're not being more stressed. But I don't enjoy... I don't know.
I appreciate you engaging with the chat, but you should resolve the combat.
Oh, I'm going to take a damage.
Thank you.
I was merely waiting on your cut to resolve the combat. And then I stun, and then I pass. And then
generally, I don't like to do a whole lot on my own, but I do tend to travel and spend time with family and stuff. Like, I don't care much for... Boy, this is a weird drawing.
Yeah.
I don't care much for, like, decorations and that sort of thing.
Right on. We're on turn dose. I'm going to do that. It is my initiative. And I'm going to recruit the Sentinel Mark III, which says Army Sentinel characters I control get +1 attack while attacking. He is an Army Sentinel character himself, but is otherwise just a 1/2.
I will not be recruiting anybody at this time.
Well, I'm going to team attack Kid Devil.
I'll go for the 2-drop.
That'll work. But at least I get rid of your counter.
So you say.
So I say, make you do something to get it back at least. Lucky me, I get to keep Boley. That's interesting. That's interesting. So your initiative now, it appears.
This is going kind of odd. I'm going to recruit Dark Firestorm.
Dark Firestorm.
When Dark Firestorm comes into play, draw a card.
Right on. I'm also going to play Prime Sentinels from my resource row. It's an ongoing plot twist. It says whenever an opponent plays a plot twist from his resource row... Oh, I actually can't do that yet. because technically that's not my resource row. We speed through that phase a little bit early on, but really I'm not supposed to put down a resource until Ian has concluded his full recruitment and formation step. So I will confirm now. That
Yes, I'm done.
I'm going to put a resource in my row, and then flip up Prime Sentinels, which says whenever an opponent plays a plot twist from his resource row, that opponent loses 1 endurance for each non-stunned Sentinel character I control.
I can flip 2.
For each one, you will take 1 damage.
That is not true, because your effect goes on the stack, does it not?
Oh, I see. You're doing that preemptively. Understood.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe... Because it's not a recruit effect, it's just a flip.
That's true, it's just a flip.
But I can do it before you recruit
That's also
other
true.
army Sentinel characters.
It is actually all characters is wrong. This is the one that's non-stunned.
It's so awful.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll do it anyway.
It's probably the right choice.
As additional cost to play Generation Next, which is the name of this card, this is the one with the typo. As additional cost to play Generations, choose 2 different team affiliations from among characters you control. I will choose Darkseid's Elite and Teen Titans. Ongoing, cross them over, and I may exhaust a Teen Titans character I control, and characters I control have flight and range this turn.
Right.
And joining the Darkseid is an additional cost to pay. Joining the Darkseid, choose 2 team affiliations from among characters you control. I choose the same 2, cross them over. Darkseid's Elite substitute characters I control that came into play this turn get +1 attack.
Oh, interesting. So they don't even have to have been substituted in, they just need to have entered play this turn. Right. Okay, well, since you put it that way...
did I draw my card? I did draw my card.
Great card. I'm going to recruit... that's interesting.
And I will take 4 from that, I'm sorry.
You do
take my damage.
I'll think about this a little bit here. I guess it's got to be... Got to be this...
And that ongoing is just cards from my resource row?
Plot twists from your resource row.
My resource row.
And you are pinged for my non-stunned Sentinel characters.
Okay.
No army qualifier. I have a choice this turn. I got to think about it for just a moment. It is probably that, but it could be that. That's interesting. Yeah. So +1 attack was 1, and then it's at all times, but they must have entered play this turn.
Correct.
And what was the other one?
The other one is I can exhaust a Teen Titans character, which is now all of my characters, to give my team flight and range.
All right. Yeah. I'll do this. I'm going to recruit the Sentinel Mark II. I think the Sentinel Mark III is the 2-drop, and the Sentinel Mark II is the 3-drop. The Sentinel Mark II has activate, discard a Sentinel character card from your hand to negate target activated character effect. It's also a 4/3 with flight and range, which doesn't matter hugely. You have flight range on both, so we'll leave my formation as thus. I'm with you. With you so far. Yes. Yes, indeed.
I'm going to... this could be costly. I'm going to attack the 3-drop with Kid Devil.
Oh my.
I'm going to play from my hand...
I don't like this.
Dark Fury. Target Darkseid's elite attack you control gets +2 attack this attack, and an additional +2 attack if it came into play this turn. He did not, so it's just +2 attack.
Interesting. No, that's a pretty good play, actually. I had not foreseen that. From your hand, so you are not pinged. Yeah, that's just going to work. So I'll take 3.
I will take 1.
Will. I'm just going to team attack it. It's only 3. Definitely came out ahead on that exchange, though. That was good. Good play.
And what do your characters do? What is...
Boley is a 1-drop search. Bring him into play and he searches.
Done. Okay.
So he is essentially done. And this guy gives my army sentinel characters +1 attack while attacking.
I'm going to attack the 2.
Yeah, that's a way better choice.
4, 6.
I do have 2 power-ups for that character, so I will have enough attack to counter stun.
Thanks.
And I'm going to take it. So I do take 2 breakthrough because I did power up twice. And 2 for the stun, which is 4. I am going to flip, this will not affect what you just did, but I'm going to flip South American Sentinel Base, which I can activate to return an Army Sentinel character card from my care pile to my hand. I think I lose... Interesting. Those guys are really good on my initiative. Which I will have, but the other one has better stats, which is more likely to allow me to counter stun. This is actually a difficult choice. I'm going to be able to do that, which means... What's this guy lose? Interesting. I'll draw. And it is my initiative. And I will recruit. It's a waste. Gotta do it. I'm going to recruit the Sentinel Mark V, flight and range. When Sentinel Mark V is ready, Army Sentinel characters I control are reinforced. It's a boost 1 in which he comes into play with 2 counters. But I'm not doing that part.
I'm going to recruit Darkseid. Whenever an opponent flips a location or plays a plot twist from his resource row, draw a card. I am also going to substitute Dark Firestorm for Dark Firestorm. When Dark Firestorm comes into play, I draw a card. And then I'm going to reveal that I have the Furnace of Apocalypse, which doesn't ping me, correct? Because it's a location?
That is correct.
Which has activate, draw a card, use this power only if you substitute a character into play this
Very
turn.
nice, very nice.
This draw is so stupid.
Feels it. Undo feels it. So what do I do now? Darkseid is gigantic, as Darkseid is wont to do. Lord. Well, I've got a team attack him, which is always not something you want to do with Darkseid. So the question is, oddly, whether or not I include Bolivar Trask or not. Which might seem like an odd choice.
It's an odd question.
Yeah, an odd question, yes. So is Boley included in this attack? There are reasons to include him and reasons not to include him. Do that, he will probably do that, followed by Maybe that. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think we'll leave it with just these.
Okay, I will attempt to steal the foreground. Steal? Stun. I will attempt to stun the foreground.
All right, because you are +1 attack because he has substituted and entered play. That will work. You're also stunned 4 apiece.
I go for Boulevard.
Sure. I take 6.
He didn't. Yeah, he did come into play this turn. I substituted him.
Sure.
I almost
did.
corrected in your favor.
I'm just going to activate to pop one of these guys in my hand. I don't have any other tricks.
Cuckoo.
I will lose Transcover. Interesting. And now the initiative is back to you. Indeed.
Alright, the first thing I'm going to do
I don't like that.
is I'm going to substitute Dark Thanagarian for Dark Firestorm.
Okay.
Dark Thanagarian says when Dark Thanagarian comes into play, target another character you control. I will choose Darkseid. While that character has the Darkseid's elite affiliation this turn, it gets +2 attack while attacking and has flight. Ooh.
That's really useful.
Draw a card. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't play a resource, which I needed.
Yeah, we can safely assume that you did that.
This is not going well.
Yeah.
I will then... I gotta do it that way. That's kind of goofy.
The +1 attack thing is for substitute Darkseid that came into play that turn.
This power is for a character with the Darkseid's elite affiliation that came into play this turn and has substituted.
I gotcha.
I will recruit with my resource points Beast Boy and Dark Lantern.
Yeah, interesting.
Beast Boy's visible. Beast Boy and Dark Lantern.
Right on.
Dark Lantern's power says, when Dark Lantern enters play, target a character you control. I will target Darkseid as well. I will denote that with this white die.
Yes.
He's targeted by both of my abilities. While that character has the Darkseid's elite affiliation this turn, it cannot be stunned while attacking.
He's a big dude.
And Beast Boy says, when Beast Boy comes into play, put a 1/1 counter on him for each resource you control. That's 5.
It's not bad. Not bad at all.
Amazing that a 4-drop and a 2-drop. But I would have preferred a 5-drop.
Sure. Yeah. I do have a 5-drop, and so I will play it. It is Nimrod. Nimrod is a 9/9 with flight range. When he comes into play, if you control another Sentinel character, put a repair counter on Nimrod. If Nimrod would become stunned, remove a repair counter from him instead, and if you do, exhaust him, and he is not stunned. It's basically Cosmic before Cosmic. I do need to think momentarily about my formation. I guess everyone you've got has flight this turn, even Darkseid, because of the other guy. That means I need to think in terms of protection and reinforcement, maybe? So this guy reinforces my other characters while he is ready. This guy lets me negate activated powers, which is not super useful in this instance. Yeah. I'm going to take a beat this turn. And he says, whenever an opponent flips a location or plays a plot twist from his resource, draw a card. All right, we'll form thus and such.
Okay, I gotta do weird stuff. I don't like that I have to do weird stuff.
I don't like it either. The heck? Very odd animal sounds coming from the hallway.
I should have targeted Beast Boy with the invincibility power. That would have been better.
It would have given you some advantages.
Well, no use crying over spilt milk. Nimrod's going to attack. I'm sorry, Beast Boy's going to attack Nimrod.
Yeah.
I almost never go for Nimrod.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
unusual.
really unusual.
But you get to remove him.
I'm attacking for 6, and I will play Substitute Heroes. Target substitute attack you control gets +6 attack. This attack where X is the cost of a character that left play while under your control this turn.
3.
The attacker cannot cause breakthrough this attack.
Interesting. So your attack is 10, but you can't cause breakthrough.
Yes, it is 10.
That ain't bad. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize his attack. His attack is also 7. I should do that with Darkseid.
So what's happening?
I do it with Darkseid. Sorry.
Doing it with Darkseid.
He can't be stunned and also has a bigger attack.
Oh, I see. Sure. Right.
That makes a lot more sense.
That will work.
Actually, I might not even need to play Substitute Heroes yet in that case. That is true. He has 9 attack natural.
9 attack?
He didn't come into play this
Yeah,
turn.
he has 8, so you do have to do
I
something.
will play Substitute Heroes.
All right.
Surprise!
There we go.
Substitute
Hey,
Heroes.
Substitute
that
Heroes
thing,
on
that stuff
Darkseid.
and other things.
That thing that you initially said. Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
So I don't take anything, but I'm exhausted and lose my repair count.
Right.
Which is still not bad. So Beast Boy, he's a dude.
He is a dude.
He is a dude. Real dude, that Beast Boy. Is the attack pump one that is all the time or just when attacking?
Always +1 attack.
How about the one on Darkseid?
Yes. No. While attacking. Darkseid's +2 attack is while attacking.
All right. Well, yeah. Do I go for Darkseid or do I go for Beast Boy? If I go for Darkseid, you will. Well, Beast Boy could actually. I have to go for Beast Boy because he can get Sentinel Mark III or Mark II for free. So I'm going to team attack Beast Boy.
Team attack Beast Boy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the first thing that I do then is I exhaust Beast Boy to play from my hand First Date. As an additional cost to play First Date, exhaust a character control, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, and put a revealed Teen Titans character into your hand, and the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck.
Solid.
Not that one.
Not that one.
Maybe Vic Stone.
That's
Boy,
not
I
bad.
wish I had him last turn. Not that one. And maybe Dark Martian. The rest on the bottom of my deck?
Yeah, bottom of your deck.
Assuming
your
I must
reading was
choose
accurate.
between Dark Martian and Vic Stone. You have initiative next turn,
That's true.
and I have missed 5. So sadly, the better choice is Dark Martian.
Yeah, interesting.
In hopes that I can substitute him for Darkseid.
Yeah.
Even though Vic Stone is super useful.
Also true. So that's the first thing that
Then I'm going to attempt to deal the damage to the 4-drop again.
Yeah, it'll work.
I will take from that 3.
I take 4.
And I'm just going to attack the 3-drop with Dark Lantern.
Yeah, it's the safer one for sure.
Let me think. It cost me 4. I'll just hit it with Dark Lantern.
Right. And you're a 4/3. 4/2. Right. So if nothing changes, we will both be stunned, and I will take a point of breakthrough. I'm going to power up and return that power up to my hand to power up again.
Oh, you can power up with anybody?
I'm powering up the Mark II in question.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Somehow I thought I was attacking Nimrod again, which makes no sense.
Yes.
You have to do this a particular way that could be disastrous.
So right now, just to be clear, you have 4 attack. My defense is 5.
I'm going to flip something.
Ooh.
I'm going to flip an ongoing plot twist, so I'm going to take 4. The ongoing plot twist is another joining the Darkseid.
Oh, sorry, you would only take 2 from flipping something.
It's 2 per, right?
It is 1 per.
All right.
1 per unstunned.
Aha! Excellent. I like that a lot better.
Indeed. I mean, it's still something, though.
Yes.
Finger waggle.
So I am +1 attack.
Yeah, that'll work. Hoping you didn't have another freebie. I guess it made you take a little damage. And I will take 3. I will pass.
I think it's very costly, but I'm going to attack Nimrod with Dark Thanagarian.
And he is +2, and...
I have a Dark Fury for another 1, but that one's +4.
Wow. How does that give you +4? Sorry,
it's +2 attack for Darkseid's elite character and an additional +2 attack for one that came into play this turn.
Man. Yeah, costly, but also great. Alright, well, it's going to work. I take another 5. Jeez.
You should take more than 5.
What was your attack? Your +4?
Yeah.
My defense is 9?
Yeah, my attack is 12. Or 11.
Oh, that's +4, and you had 2. +6, so I would take...
It's not
7.
It's not 12, it was 11. So 2 breakthrough, yeah.
Right on.
And I get stunned, and I will take 3.
And I will lose 2 here.
I think that was the right play.
No, I think so.
I think I'm going to keep Beast Boy because his stats are better, even though having a hidden character is really useful for me.
That's interesting.
Clear the board.
Yeah, that's a thing.
With Nimrod on the board, which is crazy.
That was unreal. That was unreal. My hope is that you've burnt through a lot of your stuff.
I've spent a lot. I have spent much.
I got to decide what I do here. I have initiative, which is really important. Oh man, how do I do this? You are at 27. You do have a life advantage also, which I don't love. How many cards are in your hand?
5. Well, 6. I have played my reserve.
Sure. I gotta think about this. It's so bad. Could be one of 2 bad things. It's so annoying. And I don't know what you got up your sleeve. I'll activate this to put something in my hand. I'll start there. I'm going to put the 4-drop in my hand.
That doesn't bode well.
Yeah. It ain't as great as I want it to be, but I'm going to do some stuff. I guess we're going to do it this way. I'm going to recruit Master Mold. Master Mold cannot attack. Also, my Army Sentinel characters get +2 attack. Nimrod is not Army. And then activate him to bring an Army Sentinel character from my hand into play. Unfortunately, I can't pay his boost because I brought him into play that way. So, as a reminder, this one says, while he's ready, Army Sentinel characters I control have reinforcement, and Master Mold gives him +2 attack at all times. We're also going to put him, just in case it's useful, behind Master Mold.
Okay. So you have a big dude that doesn't do anything, and 2 small dudes that do.
Yep.
So I just got to finish you off.
Yep. All these things are true.
Which I think I can do, but I'm not sure.
I wish that weren't the case.
I also am going to put this into play, even though it's probably costly to do.
Yeah, my setup is not good.
Let's start doing stuff, and we'll see how it goes.
Right on.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute Dark Martian for Darkseid. Which means now you can flip things if you want.
That's true.
When Dark Martian comes into play, target a character, I will choose Sentinel Mark 5. While a Darkseid's elite character is attacking that character this turn, it loses reinforcement and cannot have reinforcement.
Oh, interesting.
He grants it to himself, right?
While Sentinel Mark 5 is ready, yeah, he does.
Okay.
That's correct.
So that's
Though
number
he's
one.
the only character that would benefit from. So that got So all of my characters.
If any of my characters that have the Darkseid elite affiliation, which is all of my characters,
Right.
attack him,
Right.
that character in particular, he loses and can't have
I
reinforcement.
see. So you target one of my characters.
Yes.
Okay, got you. And you were targeting the Mark 5. Got you.
I'm going to use the Furnace of Apocalypse to draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
Did not change the calculus. So the rest of what I do is that and that. Vulnerable, but it's the right play. So I'm going to play Dark Champion.
Oh my.
Dark Champ means got a cosmic power, and his cosmic power is...
Good setup.
Characters I control that came into play this turn get +2 attack and can attack as though they had flight and range. And the last thing I'm going to do very briefly is recruit a T-Jet. T-Jet says, characters I control get +1/+1 and have flight, and it costs 2, but it's reduced by the number of characters I recruited this turn.
Right.
It just gives everybody +1/+1.
Man, boy, did you get a good setup. I mean, maybe you played for it, but that's brutal.
Well, I missed a lot of early stuff, but you missed enough that you weren't able to
yeah.
capitalize.
Yep.
And when you miss a lot of early stuff, you wind up with a lot of late stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I actually didn't... There were some things that I missed that it's not immediately obvious that I missed. I am going to flip another Prime Sentinel, so I don't think it matters. So now it's 2 per. Whew. Boy, that's rough. Okay. So
you get Beast Boy, but you probably don't even get a swing. And I get to hit you twice. If you're smart, you'll hit Beast Boy with the 7-drop so that I have to fight through your big dudes.
with Nimrod, rather, the 5-drop.
Your 4-drop, I mean. The 7/7, the weaker, the smaller one.
Yeah. I mean, that's only partially true, right? Like, I can't reinforce him. So Nimrod's not useful to reinforce. And if I attack Beast Boy, so T-Jet's +1/+1 all the time?
Mm-hmm.
But Beast Boy was not substituted and has no other attack pumps on the board. Correct?
Yes.
So the only attack I can do and not get counter-stunned is Nimrod against Beast Boy. I've only got 2 attacks on the board. One of them I get counter-stunned and one I don't.
The argument I'm making,
yeah,
and you are tired for not seeing this, is if you attack Beast Boy with your 4-drop and get stunned, I have to stun my remaining characters to attack your team.
Yeah, I mean, you still get a clean swing.
If you attack Beast Boy with Nimrod, I get a free shot at the 4-drop.
Right.
I guess I don't. I guess Dark Martian's pretty small. I guess it's the same either way.
Yeah. Though I am tired. But yeah, it's like, you probably don't waste your time with Master Mold and just hit whoever I don't attack with.
There's not enough to kill you.
Which, yeah, unless you got tricks.
So I'm going to hit them both.
He's +4 right now.
Yep.
Jeez. And he only soaks 3.
Although, if you have the right combination of power-ups, it's very risky for me, too.
Yeah, I I mean, there might be just nothing I can do. Yeah, I gotta do it. I mean, having him be vulnerable, the difference in their defense is 2.
Sure.
Which means if you counter stun him and I take 4, I'm actually arguably more vulnerable.
Right. All right. Well, it's gonna work. So I will take my defense is 7.
Yeah.
I'll take 2 breakthrough and 3.
Yep.
Which is 5. So you have 16 left, which I can't do in a single attack. So I need to go for both.
Right.
But it's super close on the Master Mold attack.
Ooh, you're going for Master Mold? Oh, I see what you're
Well,
thinking.
I can win. I think I can win if I stun both your remaining characters.
Yeah, so if you attack...
Oh, I suppose I could attack Nimrod. I see. Maybe I'm tired.
I haven't mapped it out, so I actually don't know what the best way to do it is.
No, that's the best way to do it. You're right. Master Mold is stupid. I don't know why. I had in my head I wanted to fight Master Mold.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do know why, because I told you to stun that character, which would have made me have to fight Master Mold.
Right.
Which is why I suggested it.
Right.
Makes more sense now that I'm trying to do this.
Yeah, ultimately, with that guy having +4 attack anyway, though if I have a power-up, of course, I could block you from hitting Master Mold, but +4 attack...
So I've got to hit this 4-drop.
Yeah. All right, well, of course...
My attack is 12.
Jeez, he's 12? Oh, does his bonus apply to everyone?
Everyone.
Oh, God, yeah, you got me soundly. Sure, so I do counter-stun you, but
do.
I take 9.
Let's rewind this and do it the other way and see what happens. I think it'll be closer.
Yeah,
I think you'll still
you might be
lose.
right.
And you pass, and then
I
I hit
pass.
Nimrod.
Yeah, and your attack is
14.
Yeah, I take another 9. No, I take 10, so I'm at -3.
So 21 to -3.
Yep. Okay.
Let's back it up.
So what was
This
I at?
back for 4. And I get this back. This was 2 breakthrough, so that's going to be
I didn't have an out, I don't think.
5.
So
Something went wrong there because I
7.
started this turn at like 27.
I think
Right?
you started 27. Did you get pinged
I
for 2
mismathed something. You did dealt 3 more damage than I.
Because I was at 7, and what was his attack? He dealt 2 breakthrough, so that's 6.
He was,
So I must have been at
12.
13. Was I 13?
I think you were more than that.
15. It's going to be tricky to tell how close this was, since I didn't remember exactly where I was at. Your last attack dealt me 10.
Okay.
And his attack was, what did you say, 12?
Yes.
So it would have been 9. So that would have meant I was at 16. Okay.
All right. That sounds a little better.
Yeah, I accept.
All right, so you open with we're just doing
Sure,
the same
sure, this
argument.
is an experiment.
So you open with that attack. Yes.
Yep. So my attack is also still 9, so that
Right.
part of it doesn't change.
So I stun your character.
Right, so
I
take
can't stop
4.
it,
Yeah,
and I take 5.
right.
So I go to 22, but now I have to do this attack into Nimrod.
Sure. So your attack is 12. So I take 8.
And I take 4.
4.
So this should be exactly the same life total for me. But then I attack Master Mold,
Right.
and my attack is 14 exactly,
Right.
and I'm counter-stunned.
You are not counter-stunned. He only boosts Sentinel characters. But you are correct. If you don't have any buffs, I take exactly 6, and I'm a -2. So
Yeah.
1 point better. It was close.
Okay.
It was close, but you're right. It was 1 point better. Yeah, I had one character in my resource row. Man, I couldn't get ahead that game. I felt like I never had an out the whole way. The one turn was rough. It was it was an okay game. It was an okay game. It was not a bad game. But that one turn where you were able to melt my whole team, I just couldn't quite get ahead.
The irony of the okay dudes is if I underdrop or I miss drops, it fuels my later turns.
Right. That's true. That is very true. That's interesting.
Which is literally what happened there, because I missed a drop early and I underdropped once.
Right. The reinforcement strip was also pretty critical. That was an extra 4 damage if you had not had the reinforcement strip. And you also had no pumps, which you may not have outside of what I've seen.
You saw what I had.
I would have ended that turn at 1. We would have seen next turn. And I actually might have been in an okay position for next turn if I only lost a smaller character. But I didn't... That was weird. That was kind of like a a middle of the road showing. It seemed so good. My opening hand was so good. I had a 1-drop, a 2-drop. I was spending all my resource points, but I never quite got I never got to do a good explosion. And they're supposed to do like a really good explosion, and they didn't really. And then also you had reinforcement strip, which was rough, and you had a lot of, they did a lot of what they're supposed to do. They worked really well that game. You were substituting and made your characters that should have been weaker than mine stronger than mine. Darkseid, your 4-drop withstood, my middle-of-the-road drops, and I couldn't figure out what to do on 4. 4 was kind of a miss. I had to play my really good dude on 4. I don't know if it would have mattered, really. I don't know. Maybe I made the wrong play with Master Mold. If I'd had Bastion, I would have played him. Bastion would have made a fight of it, but I did not have him. And Master Mold is not the desirable 6-drop in that instance, but what are you going to do? I do need to re-sleeve that 1 card, though. Hopefully I'll remember to do that. Alright.
So did you hate it? It was a bad game?
No, it was an okay game.
Okay.
I'll give it an okay game.
I thought it was a good game, but, sometimes that can be one-sided.
It was definitely not a bad game. I felt like I was doing stuff. I was a little frustrated. I felt like I was always like a little behind the whole game, and I felt like I couldn't. And some of the feeling behind, especially with the Sentinels, is I'm looking at my setup and I'm like, I have most of the characters I need, but I don't have like the good supporting stuff. Like I had
the ping would have changed a lot.
Right. Like for example, I had Senator Kelly, but Senator Kelly pings based on army characters, and I couldn't get ahead on army characters. You always had me too low to make him valuable, because to have to spend the resource point, he's only 1, but he only pings for the army characters, not the unstunned. So it would have been like I bring out a vulnerable 1-drop and ping you for 1. And I couldn't ever like get either build-up. Like there's a couple of build-ups and I couldn't get either one. So this is the deck I can't really definitively remember. I think it's AA. This is Rallyvengers. I'll spoil in advance. I don't think we ever promoted this one to S. It's got some really crazy stuff.
We'll try it at AA.
I think it's a better AA, circumstantially.
It's going to be a weird matchup. You might crush me, or I might crush you.
Well, stranger things have happened.
Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I think they are still AA. I don't think we ever promoted them. But I couldn't be sure as I was looking through it. Some of their stuff is so crazy, but then they also have some weaker turns and some middle-of-the-road stuff, so I don't know. They're a little scattered. I think they're a AA deck that has some S plays but is highly intermittent, which is probably why they're still in AA. But we'll see how they do tonight.
Well, you get that stupid 2/2 on Captain America or whatever.
God, it's so satisfying.
It's such a huge swing, though.
It's sort of like this deck's version of Growing Man with 2 new identities.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't stack turn on turn, but it's a very effective play that takes like 4 cards to do. You got to get 3 or 4 cards to make that actually work properly. It's at least 3, maybe 4. If I can
seem
pull
to
it
be
off.
shuffling my deck in extra time this game.
You rebel. You rebel.
These games.
You
tonight.
Rebel.
I should call something and then roll the die.
True. I agree.
I'm going to call Outer. I like Outer. I kill Outer all the time. I have 1.
All right, 50-50 tonight on the roll.
Did these guys go... I think they go odds, which is a little strange. But I think that's right.
Did I cut your deck yet?
I don't know.
I'm going to cut it.
All right.
I don't think I cut it. I'm going to keep my hand. You went odds.
I may be misremembering that, but it also might not matter a whole lot.
Weird draw.
I think I can't keep this. There's more important things in that range that I need.
That's hilarious.
That's better.
That is moderately hilarious.
So I went odds.
You did.
Let's see. Actually, there's lots of this. So this is a better early play here thing. I'm going to play Ratcatcher. I know you love him.
Lordy.
Ratcatcher says, whenever a character becomes stunned, each of your opponents loses 1 endurance.
Joke's on you. I'm not recruiting 1 drop.
All right, I'll hit you for 1.
Damn it, 1 damage. How could you? I'm a 49.
Oh, I got the excellent.
I don't like all that.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to recruit Captain America. He's concealed. Captain America enters play rarely for a character card. If you're successful, put a 1/1 counter on each character you control. Successful will just be Captain America. It did work.
The big Captain America.
4/3. Oh,
Let's see,
yeah.
The life penalty might be a lot here. Let's see how this card is worded. You're going to recruit Tomorrow Girl. Tomorrow Girl says,
What?
when Tomorrow Girl comes into play,
No, I don't like this.
you may move her target to target opponent's front row. And she's cosmic, and her cosmic power is at the start of the combat phase. Discard a card.
Heh. Wish you'd recruited first. She'd have a 1/1 counter. Right.
But I went odds.
That's really annoying.
I take a lot of damage.
I'm gonna
this
take
turn.
so much damage. Right. Okay. I guess we're into the combat phase. I'm gonna have to discard something. I am going to discard. It's gotta be that. I guess it's my initiative. I'm gonna attack you for 4.
Take 4 and he'll take 1.
I'll take 1.
4 more.
Yeah, no tricks on it. Just is what it is. This is a weird matchup. This is strange. Weird. It's real weird. Now, it is my initiative.
That's not true.
Now, it is your initiative. I figured I'd be right 50% of the time on that guess. Weird.
I'm going to recruit Brainiac 4. Brainiac 4 is a bunch of keywords, but her power is whenever Brainiac 4 becomes stunned by a character with lesser cost, that character's controller discards a card. I will now flip 31st Century Metropolis as an additional cost to flip it. Choose up to 2 team affiliations from among characters you control. I will choose Arkham Inmates and Future Foes. Cross over the chosen affiliations, and this has Activate. Target character you control gains the chosen affiliations this turn.
Right. I will recruit Patriot. Patriot says he's a leader. 5/4 with range. Whenever an adjacent character stuns an opposing character. Really for a character card. With the mercy of the roulette in my deck, perhaps, as to whether or not you get ahead of my curve or vice versa, and that's...
Well, I'm
comedic.
paying life to stay in it, so I think
That's
it's
true.
probably going to work in your favor. But we'll see.
We-
I'm enjoying
I
it,
mean-
even though it may be brief.
I'm not going to lie, it's stressful. It's stressful. it is your initiative.
Yep. So I will attack Tomorrow Girl with Brainiac.
Oh, actually, pardon me. I have to lose a card.
Yes, that's true.
And I will lose... Oh, that's weird.
I will attack Tomorrow
What?
with Brainiac.
You jerk. That'll work. So your attack is 6. I'm going to flip up Asgard. Asgard, as a location I may activate, put target character card from my KO'd pile on top of my deck. And I am going to choose 7 grow up. And then I am stunned. I do lose the cosmic counter and take 3 breakthrough. And I must discard a card. But I also rally for a character card. So I take 5 total damage. I'll take my damage first.
Oh, that Patriot triggers on attack or defense.
It does.
He's a good card.
What do you think happens first, the discard or the rally? I think yours goes on.
Well, they're triggered by the same event, which means I choose. It doesn't matter. I
Right.
don't care.
Right. I guess I'll discard.
Yeah, we'll say discard.
Sure.
My effect because I have initiative.
Because otherwise I can just discard her again because I rally for her.
Oh, sure.
Right, like it's sort of like, do I just, it's kind
You're
of
right.
is
So
irrelevant.
that is subtly advantageous to me. So that's the way.
Yeah, I think that is. I agree.
And then I believe, and Chris can please correct us if this is wrong. I believe, like on your initiative, you choose the order the effects go on the stack.
It's something like that. It's weird. Or it might be if it's multiple effects from your side of the table.
Oh, that might.
They go on first.
Well, Chris will fix it if it's wrong.
Yeah, whatever.
If he's still here and paying attention.
I also take 2 damage from Ratcatcher.
That's true.
Then I attack Ratcatcher and take a damage from Ratcatcher.
I will take 5 from the attack, though.
That's true.
4 more.
I'm thinking. A really, really bizarre choice. Gonna read some cards here, like Ratcatcher.
Do you have a KO power or something?
I think I just hit you for 4.
Oh,
But I really thought about it.
Oh, my life is going fast. Hope I get your cards soon.
I'm gonna keep the character, I guess. She's not bad. I hope you don't put a cosmic counter on her during the pre-combat phase. That would make me a little sad. Interesting. My initiative.
Yep.
Well,
I'm gonna be such a dick.
I believe it. I don't have a 4-drop, which is going to serve you well.
Don't be so sure.
Well, touche. I'm going to recruit Falcon, and it probably won't work because I wasn't able to manipulate the board to do it. But he is the one that says when he enters play rally for a character card, if it's named Captain America, he gets bigger.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Probably not. It did not happen. It's a useful card. Failed rally goes on the bottom of the deck. So he's just a 4/5 with range.
Oh man, I'm going to do something really ballsy. And it's
I gotta
terrifying.
decide. I have a 1-drop I could play too, but that puts a card out of my hand, which is really annoying. So I think I don't. That's really annoying. So the last question is, who am I most likely to attack with first? It's probably Tomorrow Woman. Is that true? It's not. That's weird. Okay.
27 life.
Mm-hmm.
Justice League of Arkham. I don't think I've played this card yet.
Really? How novel.
Choose 2 team affiliations from among characters you control. I will choose Future Foes and Arkham Inmates. If you chose Arkham Inmates and another affiliation, each of your opponents discards a card.
Huh.
Ongoing, long form, cross them over.
Interesting. Arkham Inmates and another affiliation, and I just have discard a card. That's pretty rude. That's a good team up. That's just your opponent discards a card.
I think I'm going to recruit Harley Quinn, who has Activate. Target Arkham Inmates defender you control as reinforcement this attack. I did that because you recruited another Tomorrow Girl.
Oh my goodness. Does that get rid of my first Tomorrow Girl?
Nope. The uniqueness check happens on my side of the board.
Huh. I don't like that too much.
Actually, I suppose... Let me read her. I might get to choose where she goes. Start of the... you may move her to target opponent's front row. So, yeah, I'll just move her not adjacent to anybody.
Sure. I mean, she doesn't have my team affiliation anyway. Though you certainly don't move her next to Patriot.
Right.
Yeah. We will remember that she is not adjacent for the sake of proceeding. And Harley Quinn can reinforce anybody. Oh, boy, well, I got to discard a card, don't I?
You sure
That's
do.
great. We'll discard that card. That'll show you. I'm going to have to discard another card soon, too.
I hope so.
Well, I'm going to hit Harley with this Tomorrow Woman.
Okay. I will reinforce her.
Yep.
I can't possibly afford the life not to hit the other Tomorrow Woman.
Yep. Well, and I don't discard unless you get Tomorrow Woman, because her vengeance only triggers against lesser cost, right?
Right. So I could hit this Tomorrow Woman, but I'm going to hit this one to get...
Right,
get
because 4 life is
4 life,
matters.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm
that'll
struggling
work.
to form sentences, but you're understanding what I'm saying.
That's right. So I do take 5 damage from that.
I'll take 3, and you will discard another card.
Getting thin here. There's something. Yeah. Just gonna discard a card. Not loving this. Not loving this. Got a good amount of damage on the board, though. What's interesting is now I can't rally because I don't have anyone to stun, which is not really what I want. Do I just attack you?
I think you do. What else would you do?
My attack is 5 plus 8, which is 13. I guess that's it. Feels like there's more I should be doing.
I think I've run out of life before I got you into a position where your lack of cards matters.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't great. I'm gonna keep her. I might start to regret that, but I feel like I want that attack on the board.
Even if I keep Harley Quinn, she doesn't get me through the turn, so I will dump her and keep the bigger attack.
And I am going to activate this to put Wonder Man on top of my deck. Hey, I drew a 5-drop. That's cool. But it is your initiative.
What a time to underdrop. If I had a 5-drop, I'd be in good shape.
Oh, man. Well, Wonder Man's a very weird 5-drop, but he's useful.
I've got Maxi Zeus.
Maxi Zeus.
Whenever an Arkham Inmates character you control causes breakthrough to a player, that player discards a card from his hand.
God, he's so good. Oh, man. You know, it just occurred to me, that team-up you can play at any time. So, like, you could get me down to a position where I only have 2 cards and you make me discard one during the recruit step. And I must choose between playing a resource. Like, that's horrifying. You see the horrifyingness there. That's brutal. You can stop a recruit.
I should be careful to try to do that in the future.
Yeah, because that's awful. It does require that you get me down to 2 prior.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'll always have a choice. But in that deck, it's quite doable. In fact, the only reason I'm in this, I think, is because of Rally.
You rallied twice successfully, right? And you have 2 cards.
Yeah. Man, the ability to stop recruit, that's nuts. Well, I mean, I'm going to recruit Wonder Man. You're not shocked at that. Wonder Man is weird. He is reservist. It's so funny. He might actually be almost useless. If Wonder Man would cause an amount of breakthrough...
I bet you can play in response to the card. I bet that's how that works. I don't think I can interrupt your recruiting.
It's a threshold 4. So if I draw 2 cards... and it is the my resource step. There's no constraint on when you can play that. You play it. And the only thing, like, even if we say I could put a card down in response, it doesn't matter. Right? I have to lose one of my 2. And then it's like, well, now I have 1 card. And if we're on 5 and it's my 5 drop, I either put it in my resource row or I don't.
Interesting.
It can actually, you got to get me down to the 2, but then you can literally keep me from recruiting for 1 turn at least. Maybe forever. So it's so funny. Wonder Man's amazing in the right circumstance and one of the worst 5 drops in the game in other circumstances, and this might be that. His power is, if he would cause an amount of breakthrough, instead, I may stun a character with defense less than or equal to that amount, which in this particular context is going to be nobody, and he's not going to deal breakthrough even if he hits you straight up.
Is that true? Like, it means that I should lead with Brainiac instead of Maxi Zeus.
We'll set them over here just for sake of argument. Right. And I will try and...
Like, the good
I
opening...
have to put him in front.
I'm going to lose this turn anyway. The good opening play here is... I attack something like Tomorrow Girl with Maxi Zeus.
Well,
and don't get counter stunned, and then he's 6 defense. Right?
Well, the catch is, what's weird about this is, I guess it depends on your goals, because if Wonder Man attacks Maxi Zeus and you cannot buff your defense, I stun your hidden 3 turns.
That's what I'm saying.
Which means that you either get Zeus stunned initially, which isn't really enough, or you make me discard with Brainiac's power out of the gate. But you're getting 1 attack either way. Wonder Man keeps you to 1 attack. So I guess the question is, do you make me discard this card or deal me more damage? Does that make sense? Well, because if Zeus... what is Zeus's power again? Sorry.
Characters I control,
if
they cause breakthrough,
right.
you would discard a card.
Sure. So then, yes.
So here's how we do it.
Is it instead of breakthrough or in addition? So they would cause breakthrough and then...
it's in addition to.
Okay. That's reasonable for...
I'm going to play Sorcerer's Suppression. Which I may only do if I control a future of this character and only during the combat phase. Exhaust target character with cost 3 or less unless an opponent discards a card, and I will choose Patriot.
I'm sorry, it does what unless I discard? For some reason that didn't register, I can't explain it.
I exhaust him unless you discard.
No, that's interesting.
Which you, of course, will do. There's no reason.
Patriot?
Yeah.
You think there's no reason. I guess I'll do it. It's a plot twist I can play, but it's not meaningful enough. So I'll discard the card and let you go ham.
Right. Well, I don't have ham to go, sadly.
No ham to go.
So I do that so that I could attack Falcon. Right. If you choose not to
Sure.
discard it, I attack Falcon, and
Sure.
you discard it anyway, and I deal more damage. And
Sure.
so now I have to hit Tomorrow Woman.
Right, because it's more damage.
With Maxi Zeus
Sure.
is the best play, I think.
I do not believe it is consequential. Which, so I will take 6. And did not get a counterstone. Which one?
You will discard a card. Oh, you don't have any cards.
Yeah, you need the plot twist that says anytime your opponent would discard a card, they take some extra damage. If they are unable to do so. Okay, so that happened.
And then you tear me apart. But that was exciting. I got a rally deck out of cards.
Yeah, that deck is terrifying. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I hit Maxi Zeus with Wonder Man. Now, I'm not going to deal you any breakthrough, but instead I may stun a character with defense less than or equal to that amount. So I will attempt to stun Brainiac 4.
2.
And then I just attack you for much. Which is 8 plus 4 more is 12, 17. Assuming that nothing else happens. I do it in 2 attacks because she's not associated.
19.
But. Yeah, it's actually very interesting because, certainly you're at a high negative value, but you did empty me of cards, and it would have been at 1 turn sooner had I not been a rally deck.
Right. And you were able to, because of that, you were able to choose the cards that you drew.
Right.
Which means I couldn't get you to lose useful cards.
Right,
As well.
that's right. Specifically the 5 drop.
And I missed the drop where I finally got you out of cards, and that's the drop I really need to hit.
I forget what the kill shot in that deck is. I don't actually remember. I feel like I've only fought it a handful
Your deck
of
or my
times.
deck?
Yours.
My deck has no kill shot. My deck
just
is
blades you out. And then,
by turn 4 you're top decking and I'm not.
right. So you just play on curve characters, and that's all that matters. Sure. I mean, that's not trivial.
Yeah.
Pretty significant. I think that's.
But I spend like 10 or 20 life to get there, so
Right.
it's still kind of an even fight.
Well, it's a little Shadow Pact-y in a sense because you know you're going to take a beating. You know this. That's also true with Shadow Pact. You know the life is going to swing a certain way. And in Shadow Pact's case, your hope is that you just become monstrous enough because the character's powers and plot twists are all bigger and you have a lot of sustain in that low health space. And in that deck's case, it's your characters aren't gigantic, but mine are not on curve anymore because I'm top decking. And Rally gives me extra cards, which gives me flexibility and lets me get some cards back circumstantially, both of which are really, really valuable. Even though I didn't do a ton of Rally, the ones I did had a pretty high meaning. Initially, I was kind of hoping that, because I had Asgard, Cap, and Falcon in my opening hand, so I'm like, maybe... Opening hand. Because what I was going to do... yeah, what I wanted to do is have Captain America get stunned on 2, and then I just lose him, and then put him on top of my deck, and recruit Falcon and pop him, because it'd be worth it, because he's gigantic. But your character was too small for that. And your other character, which was bigger and could have stunned Cap, was on my team. So
Starga is awesome. I really enjoy her. So is the last one the S?
Oh, yeah, it is. It is.
I do enjoy that. That's probably one of my silliest decks now.
It is but it's not ineffective. It does things. And it does things that are alarming.
I'm going to give you a big 2-drop. Now I'm going to stun my character on the big 2-drop I gave you. This advantages me greatly.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is worth noting, it's worth calling out as a reminder to our fans everywhere. A lot of CCGs have bigger opening hands than Versus System. It's true you draw 2 cards a turn in Versus. It's a little misleading because 1 typically goes to your resource row. So you're really only having a net positive of 1 every turn in many instances, especially when you're talking about characters to recruit. And because your opening hand is only 4 cards, forcing your opponent to lose cards is really meaningful. So it is actually very, very powerful. And if you can not fly too close to the sun, as that deck, runs the risk of doing.
That starts on the sun.
Yeah, I mean, it starts right on the sun. You do get that advantage of bleeding out the opponent's hand. It's very, very difficult to address. And there was one turn where I could have recruited a 1-drop, and I deliberately am like, I'm not going to recruit a second character this turn because I really need these cards. And that's cool. So I did. I guess I won that. I'll go the outer die this time. And lose.
Evens. These are evens. These are evens.
I don't know what's going on over there, but it's starting to make me uncomfortable. Not as uncomfortable as the amateur clown hour.
I think I'll keep these. That was a good choice.
I am also going to keep these.
But I went evens.
You sure did. Apologize, I'm going to have to read 2 cards in my hand, which is odd and abnormal.
While you're pausing and contemplating,
yes.
I'm going to refill my water.
Yes.
Be right back. I feel like we're having a good night of cards.
Yeah, this is all right. Solid night.
We had a rut.
We did it that.
And we got out of it a little bit last week, but by last week I mean last time we streamed.
Yeah, many moons ago.
But not definitively. Not as definitively as I would have liked.
Right, for sure.
So what are you doing?
Darn weird.
Darn weird.
I'm going to recruit no one.
Okay. You should play a resource at least.
I'm going to play a resource and shift LCD.
Shift LCD? You don't shift LCD.
I know, that's why this
What
is
are you
weird.
doing? I'm
It's
so
fine.
confused.
Don't worry about it. When LCD enters play, which she hasn't yet, remove the top 3 cards of your deck from the game face down. Whenever she becomes stunned, I get one of those at random. And she's a 3/3. Yeah, as a reminder for shift, it's you can put characters over there. They don't exist, except that it's kind of like it's a rule that is way too intricate, but in practice is kind of fun. But it's fiddly.
Winslow Shote is the toy man. His power is vengeance. Whenever Winslow Shote becomes stunned, I may put target card from a KO'd pile on top of its owner's deck.
Right on.
And after you pass, he will hit you for 2.
He sure will. Sure will. And I sure will, and he sure did. And you went even, so now you're going to have the initiative.
That's true. I'm going to recruit KG Beast.
KG Beast.
At the start of my attack step, target player exhausts a ready character he controls.
I'm with you. That's interesting. I gotta... Man, I'm sorry. This is really, really... Usually these guys are actually straightforward, but it's weird, and so I have to think about it. It might be that I have to do that. I could recruit LCD with 1 shift counter.
That's true.
And then what would I do with my other shift counter?
Shift
would
somebody
I do
else?
That? I'd probably do that.
Or just shift somebody for 2. Whomever you recruit is going to be exhausted, but if it's LCD, they will also then be stunned, which you kind of want.
Yeah, it's got to be LCD. So I pay 1. I still have a resource point. I remove the top 3 cards of my deck from the game. Face down. I'm just going to put them under LCD.
Okay.
And every time she's stunned, I get one of those at random. I still have a resource point. I'm going to use that resource point to shift. We're going to shift... we're going to shift...
Shift something.
It'll be 7 cost blink.
Shoot. I always get nervous when you start doing that, because I think you have this stupid, awful, ongoing plot twist, which you probably do.
I've missed it the last few games. Maybe I've missed it this game too, or maybe I
2 of them, and it's terrible, and your 3rd one's coming soon.
When Blink, so, of course, this power doesn't take effect now, but I'll read her power as well. She does have shift, of course. When Blink enters play, remove any number of characters you control from the game. Then return them to play at the start of your attack step this turn.
Please exhaust a ready character you control.
Hey!
I'm going to reveal that I have the Battle for Metropolis ongoing Revenge Squad characters. In my front row, get +1 attack, and then KGB is going to attack her for 5. And your cards are sufficiently random for me, so you can just take the top one.
I'll take the top
and
one.
Continue to do that indefinitely.
Right. I, of course, am stunned. I'm sorry, your attack was 5.
Mm-hmm.
I will take 2 break from 2 for the stun. I must pass.
I will 2
I
for 3.
am stunned, and then I take 3. What the heck? Fail. We'll shuffle them later.
That's fine.
I did that poorly. I apologize.
Still random.
So I took 3. I guess that's true, because you dictated that I always take the top one.
Mm-hmm.
I was so confused. I think I do that every time. I got to come up with a better strategy for that.
That was good.
I don't
What
like
just
that.
happened now? I thought I was going to miss. But I'm not. She is not exhausted.
She is not exhausted.
Yet.
Yet. Have 3-cost blink. 3-cost blink has shift, which I'm not utilizing, and when she enters play, I put a shift counter on each shifted card you own, which in this case is just 1.
That stupid card. I almost never do this.
What is happening?
Characters my opponents control get -1 defense is Ultraman's cosmic power.
Right. I want to do this in just one game. I think I'm gonna like almost never. -1. That gives you +1 attack on which characters?
Characters in my front row.
+1 attack. And he gives me all -1 defense. That's cool. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I do not have flight. Do I attack you with LCD? Which would get me counter stunned, but would get me one of those cards. Or do I attack with Blink, which may also get me counter stunned unless I do things. It would deal you more damage. I think I do it with LCD. I'm going to attack Winslow Shoat for 3.
I'll reinforce him.
Sure. And I'll take the top card as instructed. And then also take 2.
Please exhaust a ready character control. I will pass.
I guess I will also pass. Interesting. Right. Guess I get to see what you do first. This is interesting.
Livewire gets +2 attack while all of my characters are in my front row. The power armor says equipped character gets +2 attack and can attack as though they had flight.
This turn's gonna hurt a lot, I think. How do I make it hurt less? Uive. Could do that. Yeah, that would make me take a lot of effing damage. Take so much damage. So much damage.
Just to be clear, my characters are not adjacent to each other.
Right.
Though I have spaced them quite regularly, they are intended to be non-adjacent.
And it is. You are evens. It is your initiative. Man, I think I have to do the gutsier play. Oh, man, it's so bad. I'm going to recruit Proteus.
Whoa!
I can put a shift
Oh
counter
my god,
on a
you're out of your
shifted
mind.
card I own. And then I'm going to shift Rogue for 3. Rogue says, when Rogue is shifted at the start of the combat phase, put a counter on her.
Okay, please exhaust a ready character you control.
Right.
Going to attack Proteus with KG Beast.
Your attack is 5. And I'm -1 defense. Right. Interesting. What is Winslow's Shout's power again?
His vengeance power is when he is stunned, I may put target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's deck, or KO pile. Graveyard is a magic term.
I'm going to put a counter on Rogue. You are currently getting counter stunned, and I would take 5 damage. Now, do I reinforce for 3? No. Don't think I do. I'll take 5. Card. It's awful. Ongoing. Non-army characters you control that share one or more names with a shifted card you own get +2/+2. I'm going to attack Winslow's Shout. A 7/6. Actually, a 7/5. To be precise.
I will take 7.
Take a lot of damage.
I will attack Blink.
Blink.
I'm going to play Hush, baby.
Hush, baby.
Target Arkham Inmates attack you control gets +2 attack this attack and also gets +2 defense. I'm not Arkham Inmates. I'm not teamed up.
Interesting.
I can't play that.
Also interesting.
That would have really helped.
Are you sure that is the attack you want to make still?
Yes. High power.
Sure. So you are 1 ahead of my attack, and you're going to deal me a lot of damage. It's not going to be stopped. You do have a power up as well. Temper counter stuff.
Yeah, that'll still work. 13. Attack.
What was your 13 was the attack? My defense was 7 -1 is 6. I'm going to take 13. You said?
I did say that.
I will take 24. Ow. Must pass again. Must pass again.
KG Beast has been Arkham Inmates. He attacked you twice, so you should gain 2 life. I've been playing this round.
Oh, that's specific to Inmates.
Mm-hmm.
But KG Beast is Inmates.
No, the plot twist I attempted to play is for Inmates. This one is just for Revenge Squad.
Oh, fair enough.
But I did not team up.
26. Oh, yeah. Does that mean Shote was not getting his bonus too, or is he both? Is he both?
Shote is Revenge Squad.
Oh, I see. So he would get.
Everybody's Revenge Squad except for...
Gotcha.
How are you ahead of me in life?
You are 34.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. I have not been dealing you massive amounts of damage. I suspect your 10 columns got bumped. I'm not 100% sure, but I agree. There's no way I'm ahead of you in life, and I'm definitely at 26. So... yeah.
I think I have to hit Elsie.
Yeah. Oh, it's so thin. It's so thin. It's gonna work.
It's less than before I read this card.
Yep. Your attack is... Sorry, I'm struggling to track it all. It's a lot.
It's still 6, and your defense is -1.
Right, so I will take 6.
Everything is correct except for KG Beast has been off a couple of times.
Get that card, and I'm at 0. On the ones column. I must pass again.
I will also pass.
I will lose Blink and I guess LCD. Do I lose them all? That seems ridiculous. Proteus is starting to be a liability. She's so good though. We'll keep Proteus. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Mixed feelings about that. This draw is a little strange. And it is my initiative. I'm going to recruit 5-cost Blink and Rogue. 5-cost Blink says, whenever a character becomes stunned, you may discard a card. If you do, remove that character from the game shifted with shift counters equal to its cost -1. I may use that on your characters and mine, but I must discard a card every time to do it. And then I will form probably like this.
While all the characters I control are in my front row, Prius gets +1 attack for each ongoing plot twist I control. It is 1.
Right. I'm going to use these counters to represent the effect of this plot twist, just so it is on the board and stated. Livewire is +2 attack from power armor all the time.
Yep.
And is her power also +2 attack while your characters are in the front row all the time?
Yep.
And that plot twist also gives her +1 attack all the time?
Yep.
And Ultraman, yeah, we know he gives him -1 defense all the time. So Livewire right now
is very big.
Very, very big. Livewire is big enough that Livewire can get my giant Blink, which is kind of a problem for me, because I'm at 20 life. Man. I will be lucky if I survive this turn.
I sure hope so. I will be lucky if I survive the next.
Fair enough. Jeez. And Prius right now. Well, character you control.
His attack is 9.
But it is also all the time. So you could flip a bunch of... It's fine. Flip a bunch of stuff and make him potentially much bigger. I have no idea what's in your resource row. No idea. You would need to flip at least 2 things that boosted your stats that were ongoing plot twists to get up to Blink's level.
Is that right?
I'm an
She's
11.
not- yeah.
11.
No, okay. Yes,
And
2
you
things.
have 8. So if you flip up, I guess... Yeah, I mean,
But
you
you're
got a lot
minus
of
1,
options.
so I
But
actually
that's
only
true.
one. I only need
That's
1.
true.
That's why.
Man.
So that was why it was
Yeah,
weird.
jeez. Jeez, that is close. So I think at the end of the day, the way I read this is our stuff's getting stunned.
That's what I do.
It's what you do. I'm gonna put a counter on Shift Blink, just so I don't forget. Yeah, I think Rogue attacks Livewire. Takes more attack off the table. It's a little tougher on you in the long run, I think. So that's what we're doing. Right now I'm not playing anything else, so I will be counter stunned as well. Everything's fine. I'm not throwing my cards everywhere, I promise. And you're thinking for a long time. I don't like it.
Yeah, okay. I will take 3 breakthrough.
That is true.
I'll take 7 from that.
I will take 5. 15. How many things can Ian flip is now the game we play.
We're just going to team attack her.
Sure.
Nice and straightforward.
It's a solid play. I apologize. I should have fired Blink's power on her. That is what I wanted to do. I discard a card. She can be recruited for 1 resource point. Next turn, if you are so inclined. It's funny, is that actually a bad play? I don't remember what your 6-drop is, but maybe you getting... it gets rid of the power armor. I think it is the right play. We'll do it. Yeah. A team attack. So do go for the bigger dude to deal you more damage or your counter. I don't have any other ready characters. Interesting. I'm going to go for your counter. I will stun Ultraman and take the 5.
Are you going to remove him?
Blink. Am I removing Blink?
Or Ultraman, which is what I asked, but either is good to
Right.
know.
I'll not remove Ultraman. That would get him his counter back.
Oh, interesting. I suppose that's true.
Yeah. Blink's a maybe. will discard a blink to shift blink play. I did take 5 damage from that, of course. Did you take your 3?
Mm-hmm.
Go there. What's your initiative, Mr. Evans?
I have Doomsday. He's big.
Do have Doomsday.
He has no text.
He's big.
There are very few cards that have no text.
He does have Loyalty Reveal.
Sure.
That's texty.
He has keywords, but no text.
That's fair. I accept your terminology conclusion. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm at 10 life, you're at 24. I'm going to recruit Heather Hudson, Sasquatch. Sasquatch has Shift. Also, whenever another Exiles or Alpha Flight character enters play under my control, put 2 1/1 counters on Heather Hudson. Put a counter on Blink. And Shift turn to play. Counters I will distinguish slightly differently since these are actually not counters and those are counters. And I think that is my formation. So that will be my formation.
Attack rogue.
It's legit. Your attack is 15.
Correct.
Wish I had something really amazing to do right now, but I don't. So then the question is, do I reinforce? And the answer is probably, which is annoying. Of course it is, because your attack at 14, 15 will kill me, so I will reinforce. I will take 5. And I'm at 5. Get him, Sasquatch! Going for Prius. Prius.
14, boy. Boy. I think this is just gonna work.
It's terrifying that it just is gonna work.
So I'll take 7. I will, of course, attack Exhausty McCountery.
Right.
Proteus?
Proteus is correct. They do have a Beak Saves the Day. Beak Saves the Day says that I may remove target Exiles character I control from the game, shifted it with its cost -1, which I will do to save myself the damage. Don't have a follow-up to that, but I'm pretty confident Ultraman cannot get either of my 2 remaining characters.
Then I will pass.
Yep. Me too. I can still keep progress. This last turn's going to be a throwdown here. Don't remember what your next turn entails. My initiative. when does uniqueness trigger? Does that trigger when the character enters play? I ask this because 7-cost Blink specifically says, when Blink enters play, I can remove any number of characters I control from the game, and then return them to play at the start of the attack step this turn. So, for example...
I believe it's a resolution of the recruit effect. A resolution.
Interesting. So that means it would happen... So, like, the effect would go on the stack chain if I were to recruit 7-cost Blink. And then it would resolve...
So the character... So the way is, as I recall, and I'm stretching to remember, it's been a while.
Sure.
The resolution is the character goes into play,
right,
and then, still part of the same effect, any characters with the same name are KO'd.
Right. So could I shift 5-cost Blink with 7-cost Blink's power is ultimately the question.
No.
Okay. I will accept that.
Because her power is put on the stack as a result of her recruit effect, which is resolved beforehand.
That's interesting, okay. And there's a
Makes
force
sense?
resolution at that point of interplay that doesn't necessarily create a chain.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, I accept that. So... I apologize, it's going to take a second. I got to think really carefully, because it's very, like, this is weird. So... Oh, man. Is there any way to maximize this? Might not be. I need to spend 4 resource points to bring in 7-cost Blink, which does make me lose 5-cost Blink. So what I must do is shift guess I don't have to do that first. Okay. So I will spend my 4 resource points to bring out Blink. So I got 3 left. I'm just going to set this over here as a reminder. 3. This Blink is automatically taken out. Remove from play. When she enters play, I may, well, first off, get 2 counters. Then I can remove any number of characters I control from the game and return them to play at the start of the attack step this turn. And I choose both of them. Oh, that's interesting. Or do I? It's really strange. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just choose Rogue. And then with my remaining points, I will shift 3-cost Blink with 1. And I will recruit the Talus to 7-cost Blink.
Jesus Christ.
The Talus
It's
has...
a tough fight.
It's going to be... it's tough.
I think you got me.
I might, but you do have the life advantage. The Talus says, equipped character gets +2/+2, while equipped to Blink, whenever a character enters play under my control, rally for an Exiles character card. I don't expect that to be particularly useful, but +2/+2. And I'll represent as counters the fact I also have a shifted Blink.
Okay.
Alright.
And Rogue comes back into
Rogue
play
will come
in
back
the combat phase.
during my attack step, so right out of the gate.
That makes gigantic sense, much even bigger.
Even bigger.
And sadly, I do not get to recruit a 7-drop, which might be the game maker. But we'll see. I do get to recruit Great White and Poison Ivy.
They're not bad. It's a lot of firepower.
None of my characters are adjacent.
Right.
I will replace one of them, but not both of them.
Okay.
And now... actually, do I want to do that? That's funny. I don't want to recruit Poison Ivy.
What?
Instead... instead,
What are you doing?
recruit Livewire.
Oh.
Livewire is actually better, circumstantially.
And that's interesting. Huh. Fair enough.
Do not spend 3 of my resource points, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah. On a side note, what I was trying to math out is if there was a way to recruit extra characters. Like if I recruited Proteus, which I could have done, I had enough resource points to then trigger that and get 4 more counters on Sasquatch. But then I have Proteus in play.
Yep.
And Proteus is a super liability given all the firepower you've got, so I've got to force you to fight through my big guys. So Rogue re-enters play, Sasquatch gets a little bigger.
I should read... Great White is new.
Yeah, that's right, you should read Great White.
Great White's power is... Other Arkham Inmates characters I control get +1/+1 while they're not adjacent to any characters.
Okay, so I want to take a moment to review what I'm aware of. Livewire just has +2 attack.
Correct.
Praeus has right now +2 attack.
Correct.
But then everyone has an additional +1/+1 from Great White.
No. Currently, Great White is not affecting anyone.
Oh, you need he affects only Arkham?
Correct.
You've got to have that team up by now. I feel like you wouldn't have recruited Great White if you didn't have the team up, because you could have recruited Livewire and Poison Ivy, since Livewire only cost you a single resource point. Got to have the team up. So what does that mean? So that means I need to assume everyone on the board gets an additional +1 attack. So that means Doomsday likely has 16 attack. Livewire likely has a lot of attack. Praeus gets +1 attack for each ongoing plot. So if you have the team up, that's at least 1 more. So I need to assume Praeus is going to get up to at least 10. What do I do with this mess? Blink is huge. Sasquatch is huge. Rogue is a bit of a liability, oddly. So do I lead with Rogue? Right now, Livewire has 9, probably 11 attack. Lousy. This is not... Man, dudes is big, but...
It's the name of the deck. This is the big dudes.
Yeah, dudes is big across the board. I'm going to attack Livewire with Rogue. And I don't love it, but I think I actually have to get Rogue off the board.
Okay. If I do nothing, we're both stunned.
I'm with you.
I will flip the team up to soak 1 point of damage.
Sure. A wise choice.
And the team up is Truth and Justice.
Truth and Justice.
To play, choose 2 different team affiliations from a character control. I will finally get to choose Arkham Inmates and Gotham Knights.
Indeed.
Cross them over, and I may discard another card named Truth and Justice.
Have a good night, Chris.
And team them up. Night, Chris. So she is now benefiting from Great White's power, which means I take 1 less damage, which
matters.
is still 6.
And I will take 5.
So you're dead.
I'm dead.
So now I just need to kill you more.
Yeah.
Your characters are very, very large. Very large.
Yup. You have said a true thing.
Why are they, oh, sorry. So, the counters on Blink are representative of her gear and her shifted character?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So you don't
So
have
it's
to
just-
math
yeah,
anything.
okay.
They are both currently just them plus the counters. You can even go like that for sake of argument. Oh, this probably won't matter. I will trigger it because I should have. And it is not a may. But when Rogue entered play, I should have rallied for an Exiles character.
Sure.
Which might only matter if it's a Sasquatch or Blink. It's Brave, so it didn't matter. But it was worth doing.
Now, pardon me while I talk through some math aloud.
Yeah, as you should.
Right now, Prius has 10 attack.
Right now. 11, I believe.
He has 11 attack.
Counting Great White.
And Ultraman has 6.
Right. I don't like where
So
you're
if
going
I
with that.
declared a team attack with Prius and Ultraman,
Yeah.
that's 16.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's not enough for either of your characters.
That's also true. It's closer on Sasquatch.
I have to declare a team attack with Doomsday and Prius and take the hit on the last attack. Probably don't have enough to kill me. If you do, though... So let's say I team attack with Doomsday and Prius.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that can easily stun either of your characters, so I should use it to stun Blink. Oh, I can't because the Doomsday doesn't have flight.
That's true.
So at best, that attack could take Sasquatch off the table.
Right.
Then you will attack with Blink for 19 versus somebody left, which is probably going to be Prius, which will deal me 13 more plus 6. I would take 20. I'd be at -9.
I'm tired enough that you're starting to lose me.
That's all right.
I mean, I think it's all right, but like you're saying some numbers, and I'm like, I'm sleepy.
You will win. I don't like that. There might be nothing I can do to win.
I have no idea. I have no idea. So I can talk through some perspective approaches in the interest of intrigue. And I haven't run the numbers.
I think I'm one short in a couple of cases here.
It's possible that you could go for Sasquatch with everyone but Doomsday. That would... It's tempting to think that might remove Great White from the board, which it might. But it also might not, because Prius is an extra 2 points of damage. I guess it depends on how close you think Doomsday to Blink would be, because you're not too far off.
Oh, I missed something. Okay, now I know how to do this.
Okay.
I'm sorted.
Okay, I don't like that. That was too definitive for my liking.
Ultraman and Prius attack Blink.
Blink?
This is why I was confused earlier.
Okay.
Yes. Ultraman and Prius
like
attack
that.
Blink. I will play this thing I've been trying to play all game. Target Arkham Inmates attack you control gets +2/+2 if it's not adjacent to any characters. I'll go ahead and choose Prius. So that puts my combined attack up to 18, which I think is not your
shy,
defense.
yeah.
You're at 20?
20.
I can't see.
I
There's like
apologize.
glare on your card.
Yeah, sorry. She is a 15/16 natural.
20. Okay. I'll pull for the $9 still.
Yeah.
I think I have to make this play though.
Oh man.
So I will reveal that I have a dimensional deal. It's another team up. This one gives Revenge Squad defenders in my front row +1 attack.
Right.
And I have a power up for Prius.
Oh man. Defenders in your front row.
Yes.
+1 attack. Did you have to do anything to flip that? Sorry.
No.
Is this your? Oh, I see that boost
So
price.
10,
So what are you
11,
at? Oh, so you are at exactly 20.
12. And he is 6.
Yeah, let's make sure we got it all sorted.
7. And this is +2. And that was +1. Shit, it's exactly 20. Man, that's not going to work. But it's what I have to do.
I do have one play, but only one. I will make it. I do have Boiling Point. I hope I read it right. Target character gets +2 attack. This attack, if it has the Exiles affiliation and entered play this turn, it gets +2 defense as well.
20 defense is ridiculous.
And I don't have anything else, but I think that I just have.
I had to make it that way.
No,
The other way you win.
Yeah. I had...
Any other way I play it, you win.
some miscellaneous stuff here, and then
I'm not even sure I won that way.
And then I had 3 time brokers.
Can we run the math on that, actually?
Sure.
Let's say... So
let's say this works, and that I don't play this card.
So that was a team attack like this, and I have played everything I have.
Okay, so you've played all the things.
So you stun Prius, right?
And you get... That's, yeah, that's correct.
So I would take 5.
And I lose blank for 7, so I'm at -7.
And then you attack Doomsday.
I must
probably still get me because of the plot twist.
Which is only +2 attack, not defense.
Right. So your attack is 20. My defense is 4. I take 12 from that. So
but what is your attack?
-6.
Your attack might get me. That's what I was worried about.
I don't think... I think it's 17.
1, 1.
It's 17.
Did you have only one of these?
I only have one.
It's exactly 17. This was my last play. I had no other plays. I had no
but that's
power
+2 defense anyway, right?
It is not. It is only +2 if the character... It's +2 attack, any Exiles character, any combat. +2 defense if they came into play this turn, which Sasquatch did not.
So, if that attack, that initial attack I declared worked, I won by 1, and any other attack I make makes me lose. So I had to make that play.
Right. Right? No. That was... And, again, I didn't know what else you had, and this was my only card because I had 3 time brokers in my resource row. And this plot twist I love. I'm not going to read it to you right now. I think I've only played it in 1 game, and I really love it, and it's really cool, and it seems really awesome, and it's really fun, and it's not super effective, and I never get to play it. But I'm not disappointed.
Man, I thought I had that one. I really did.
I mean, did we even math it out? I guess it... Yeah, I guess I was at 0.
Well, with a fizzled attack, it's a huge swing.
It's pretty big, yeah. Because then I just swing through on Doomsday, and even if you get the counter stun, yeah, I don't even think you would have hit -20, but I would have had you. Because you hit... I deal 5 damage to you, which puts you at 6, right? And then... or actually, would it have put you... You were at...
It would have put me at 6.
It would have put you... You started the turn at 11? And so...
No, I started that attack at 11. I started the turn higher, but you attacked...
Right, that's right. And yeah, Doom... Or... right, because if you take out Sasquatch... Or no, Sasquatch attacks Doomsday. Right, because you can't get the counter stun there either, I guess. But I didn't know that. If you counter stun Sasquatch for 6, I would have been -13.
I had no counter stun that could hit any of your characters.
Right.
Just Rogue.
Right. Which is why I think I had to lead with her. I feel like if I'd left her around, I would have just taken a bigger beat through the nose on that.
I can hit Rogue with Doomsday and not get counter stun.
Right.
I can hit Rogue. I can hit Rogue with Prius and maybe not get counter stun.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was a good opener.
Yeah, it's interesting. That was an interesting... I think that was a pretty decent game, though. I was... Yeah, so I think you would have ended at, like... You only would have been like negative...
It would have been... You would have swung through with one of your 2 characters, so it's
right,
at least
Sasquatch
18.
Swings through, but
It's
Sasquatch is...
10 or so.
Sasquatch swings through at 20. You would have taken 13 from Sasquatch. Yeah, that's actually really close. So I would have been at -6, and would you have been at negative?
Well, are we calculating from the fizzled attack or what?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to figure it. It was actually, I think it was really close because the fizzled attack brings you to 6, and I'm at 0. I am dead.
Yeah.
And then I have to swing at Doomsday with Sasquatch.
Right. That's 18 attack v my 13 defense.
14.
14 defense.
So that's 4 breakthrough. That's only
14
10.
or 13. One of his stats is 13 and one is 14.
Yeah, 14 attack for sure. It's Doomsday. But you would add 14 defense.
So I would take 10 from that, and I would be at negative.
You're only at -4,
but then you have 20 more attack. Or 19 more
Oh,
attack.
because it's fizzled. Right. Because it's fizzled, I still can attack with Blink.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, if it wasn't fizzled, it was very, very close, because I would be at -7. The saving grace...
It would have been -6 to -7.
But... Well, it's tricky. There's sort of this weird conundrum, because... Or it would have been -8 to -7 because I had the +2 attack.
Right. We
But
have to remove it
arguably-
completely from the equation because it
but,
saves you.
But
in
that was
both
actually
cases.
that was really close. Like you definitely made the right play on the last turn, and I really was out of stuff. I had nothing else. That was it. So it came down to the second to last big attack, and the last plot twist. All that you could play and all that I could play.
Yep.
And it was still kind of close.
Yep.
That was a decent night of cards.
Yeah,
That was
I think we had a good one. I have no complaints.
Yeah, not too
There
shabby.
were not even really mediocre games. They were all kind of decent.
They were decent. Yeah.
All right, we'll say goodnight to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm getting tired. We'll see you all in 3 weeks. That will be January, probably. Early January, I think.
Yeah, early January. And then we'll have a stretch where I think it'll be pretty regular, unless one of us starts randomly crunching, which hopefully won't be me or you.
Let's see. The 29th is Friday, so it will be the 5th or 6th, somewhere around there.
Right.
We'll see you then. Night, everybody.
Good night.